Alright guys, so welcome to the class where we'll be explaining how the tools work. Okay, so I'm just going to be very fast on this one, and I'm going to be showing you how to use these tools. Although these tools are not used professionally, they are just for quick fix. If you want to quickly fix something, I wouldn't advise anybody to start using the tool on a professional work. You want to achieve a professional work and you start using those tools. It's just for quick fix where you know that, oh, I don't need to do too much. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to be explaining this one, which is a spot healing tool. And you know what it does, it's heal spot. I'm gonna, instead of using this pimples, you can see a lot of pimples here. If I say let me use this tool, it's gonna be very hard for me, but it's going to give me the job. You're gonna get the job done. See, I'm just clicking on it, but you start seeing this one. You can see you can see what it's doing. So that's the bad idea on this tool. It's just still bringing back the pimples, so we are not just fixing it. So but if you want to fix something like this big, you can just click it and it's going to go out. But you can see that it creates this circular difference between let me show you something. Okay, you can see that the edge is there, so we can actually use that, all these tools. I'm going to undo all of that. Now for the next one, spot link, to still work the same way, only that this one you just need to drag it. Okay, so you just need to drag it like this. Let's duplicate the layer, so that Ctrl J to duplicate the layer. You just need to drag. You say alt click to define an area, so we're going to define an area. Let's say we want to use this place, and if I drag now, it's going to be sampling that place. You can see the plus sign. Okay, so just click and drag. You can turn on the align, so that as you move, it moves with you. For example, I don't need to sample again. I just need to, as I move, it samples. You can see the way it moves. Okay, so Ctrl Z. I'm just gonna turn it off. Now that's for the spot healing tool and the healing brush tool. The patch tool works the same way. You're just gonna circle the pimples or the rough edge you want to change. You can now drag it, and it's just going to use the content aware method. Okay, so that's just what it does. If I want to remove all the white stuff, can get it out of the way. If you want to remove the pimples, you can just circle it and get it out of the way like this. As simple as that. Now that's for the patch tool. And content aware move tool, that's if I want to move this now. Let's move this. I want to move it towards this place. I can move it content away, and that's just what it does. I don't think you should use this anytime soon. So Ctrl Z to deselect. So that's the tool. But the important one is the patch tool, which you are going to use in blurring and maybe sometimes spotting in through for quick work. So I'm going to be using this one a lot, the patch tool. So I'm just going to set it there, and let's go to the lasso tool. The lasso tool is easy. It's just like the patch tool, but all you need to do is it makes you select. It's for selection. Okay, you can see a lot of selection tool there. The lasso tool, there is nothing it does. You can see it's just a selection, and then after the selection you can just click on your patch tool and you can drag it after the selection. So Ctrl Z. So although the patch tool can select like that, you can see it does the same work with this one. So you can see what it does. Okay, so but if you hold down Alt, you are going to select out of it. If I hold down Shift, you are going to select with it. So let's say I'm selecting this, but I want to include these pimples. I can just hold down Shift and drag it like this. It's gonna, or you want to eliminate the pimples, you can just drag and close it back. Okay, so it's gonna remove that. So Ctrl D to deselect. So that's for the lasso tool. All right, so I'm going to show you the practical example of this one, which is a Markwell tool, but let's move on. Now for the brush tool, very easy. You can know we have two colors here, foreground color and background color. The foreground color here is red, the background color is black. Let's increase the brush, and now if I paint, I'm painting with red. So Ctrl D. If I want to switch, I can hit X on the keyboard. I'm switching. I've switched to black. You can see XX is changing. So you can just do it like this. Now the purpose of this one, Ctrl D, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. The purpose of the brush tool is to actually use it on a mask. So let's say for instance I want to remove some things from this image. Let me turn this off and move this one. I'm going to move this one up, and then I can turn this one back. I can put a mask, Control Z, put the mask on this one first of all. Now the mask is white, so now we can use black and white. White reveals, black hides. Okay, so I guess you already know what that is. So we can use the brush tool. If we are using black, we can quickly use it on the black. The black is going to reveal what we have at the background. Control Z. If I use white, if I hit X on the keyboard, it changes to white, and now nothing is happening because everything is actually showing that this image is what is, is not hiding anything. It's show this image. Okay, so you know what that is already, except for the fact that I want to let's delete this one, delete layer mask. Okay, except for the first, I want to correct the skin tones, of which we're going to get there later. I can just create a new layer, and the good thing about the brush tool is you can use Alt and just click on it. It's going to sample that skin tones, and you can paint. Now that I've painted on it and paint on all of this one, let's take for instance, now I'm not saying that's the color. Okay, I'm just painting on it. So let's take for instance this it. You can see what's going on there. I'm going to paint all of that. So Ctrl Z, and now you can change the blending mode. This, you are going to be using this a lot, soft light especially, and overlay and screen and multiply, all of those, color also. So you're going to use color. Now most especially you're going to be using the color. If soft light doesn't work, overlay doesn't work, screen doesn't work, there is none that will work except this one, color. Okay, so it's just gonna give you the color of that one. So that's what they use for skin tone. Sometimes they reduce the opacity, and it's just I'm gonna teach you all of that later in the when we want to achieve skin tones. So just take a look at before and after. It's just gonna give you the brown look on the top part of the skin. Okay, so that's for the brush. Now I can delete. So that's the brush tool. We're going to be using it a lot. Now the mixer tool brush is when you want to work with the image itself during frequency separation. Okay, so the setting of the brush right now, I'm going to say it because I'm not going to explain it again. So now we have the wet. I usually set it between 9 and 14. The load 75, mix 90, flow 100. And don't click on sample all area. There are times you need to click on sample all areas, but don't tick this one, because when we're using it, if you sample all area, if there's a red color in the background, it's going to sample that color also and paint it on the skin. Okay, so don't do this one. So the special part you need to put is clean brush. Don't put load brush. If you put on clean brush, let's go back, this one, I'm going to cancel this one. So this brush, clean brush, that's what you're going to use. And you're going to, if this is selected or turned dark, you can just click it to turn it off and make sure this one is selected. This one means clean the brush stroke, meaning once I use the brush, it's going to automatically clean the brush for us. Okay, I think I can use the marquee tool now. Let's try and use the marquee tool in this image, or let's see, maybe this image. No, let's use this one. So the marquee tool, this one. So let's say I want to remove all this black. I can just quickly into something like this and hold down Ctrl T to bring out the transform, and hold down Shift, and that's how to use the marquee tool. You use it for background change, you use it for a lot of things. I can bring this backwards. You see, that's the marquee tool. So let's see. You can see what it does. Okay, you can just do like that, and it's going to erase that particular part of the image. It's as simple as that. We're going to use it later in the image when retouching. Okay, so that's for marquee tool, and we have elliptical tool, we have all of that. Let's see if we can expand this one. Okay, so hold on Ctrl T if there's something like that. Okay, then we can, so we can take it up, we can take it downwards, it's still the same. Okay, so like the marquee tool, Ctrl D, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl D. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to turn it off, bring this one down, back to where we are. Okay, so which one have I not explained? We're going to use the content aware. The content aware is like the clone stamp tool, which we talked about here, like the patch tool and the content aware move tool. But it's actually different when we're doing frequency separation. So we're going to be using the clone stamp tool, and this is how it works. You still hold down Alt and sample an area, and it's gonna just take it there, and you're gonna see it. See three eyes. Okay, Control Z. Now, why is this important? It's important because I can sample a skin tone, a skin tone, and even the skin texture. So most especially skin texture, that's what we're going to be using it with. So hold on, click, and I can feel all of this like this. Hold on, Alt, click, left click, and I can feel all of this. So just imagine a whole lot of work that can be done. So please, sometimes this align is turned on, so if you are moving like this, it's going to sample. You can see, so instead of moving, if I sample here and I move, it's going to keep sampling that side, so it's not a good one. Okay, so that's for the clone stamp tool. We're going to be using it, but the clone stamp tool is used with the mixer tool brush. So in they use hand in hand. This one, the mixer tool brush, is for the skin tones, while the clone stamp tool is for the skin texture. So take note, we're going to be using it when retouching as we go on. Okay, so later I talked about the gradient tool, of which this is a color grading tool, and which other one we have the text tool. We are not using the text. Okay, so this is not a graphic design class. So that's for that. Now another one I would like to share, since I've explained the tool, is instead of using the selection, there are quick selection to rectangular and all of that. This is another selection to quick selection tool. If you want to select the subject, and you can also come here and click on select, you're going to see select subject. So it's just going to select the subject for you automatically. You can click on select and mask, and then it's going to select the subject and open up the mask. For example, if I create a mask on this one, if I click on select and mask, it's going to come here and just create a mask like this. So let's say whatever you select is what's just gonna show you the mask. So that's for select. You can select inverse, you can select you can reselect, you can invert the selection. I'm going to be showing you all of that later on. So also we still have down here, we have a lot of adjustment there. We have solid color, we have the gradient. I'm going to be using the solid color, I'm going to be using the gradient, I'm going to be using the curve, the levels, exposure, brightness, except this pattern. Okay, I'm going to using all of these except a black and white. I'm not going to use the black and white because I'm going to use the gradient to get my black and white if I want to. Okay, so I'm not going to use it black and white, but we're going to be using the black and white when we feel like we want to edit the highs, but I'm not going to use it. I'm going to use the hue and saturation instead. So photo filter, no, I'm going to color grade by ourselves. We're going to color grade by ourselves. Color lookup, we're going to color lookup table, or create our color lookup tables. I'm going to teach you how to do that, but I'm not going to use it on the image because we'll be creating ours by ourselves. Okay, so gradient, map, and selective color important. So the ones that are not important is a threshold, for posterize, invert. Okay, photo filter, I won't be using it. Black and white, I won't be using it. Pattern, I won't be using it. Color mixer, channel mixer, I won't be using it. Okay, so that's for that. And you know how to create a mask already. This for creating a mask. I'm not going to be using this one. We can create a group for organization. We can add new layer by hitting this plus icon, so you can see adding new areas. Now if I want to select from year to year, I'm just going to hold down shift, click on this one, hold down shift, click on this one. It's going to select everything, and you can delete. So let's delete this mask. You can just hit delete. It's going to delete everything, but you can unbind and it delete. It still deleted everything. Okay, so let's just right click and delete layer instead. There are times I just hit delete, it's going to pop up and say, do you want to delete the mask? So that's for that, and that's everything you need to know. There are some settings in the mask. Just check the up part, like the brush tool. Now let's go to the brush tool. You're going to see the settings. Now we have this one, the size and the hardness. Okay, so over here on this one we have the opacity and the fill. I guess you know all of this already. So let's go to a practical solution of how to retouch immediately, because I won't be wasting your time. I'll be showing you all you need to know concerning retouching. Okay, so let's get started. Thank you. See you in the next class.